This is the brand new Insta360 GPS preview remote with built-in microphone, and it has some pretty impressive performance claims. Will it live up to them? Let's find out. About a year ago, Insta360 launched this, the GPS preview remote, a remote with a live view touchscreen that gives you almost the same level of control as you have on the camera itself. Then a few months ago, Insta360 launched this, the Mic Air, the first dedicated wireless microphone for Insta360 cameras. And now Insta360 has launched this, the new GPS preview remote with built-in microphone. A device that not only combines all the features of the other two, but also boasts some significant improvements in the overall performance, including longer range remote control, live preview, and wireless microphone performance, in addition to other features like onboard recording and 32-bit float audio. Now, currently the new remote is only compatible with the X5 and Ace Pro 2, and today we're going to be pairing it up with the X5 and we're going to be putting it through its paces. Now, today's video is focused more on the remote performance. I will be posting a follow-up video in which we're going to look at the wireless microphone performance in a lot more detail, including, of course, extensive testing and comparison to other microphone systems. So there's a lot to cover, so as usual, I'll place the chapters up here and on the video timeline, but first this. Today's video is something of an experiment and something I need your assistance with. Let me explain. Over the past couple of years, I have made around about 80 videos featuring Insta360 products. Obviously, this has come to the attention of Insta360, and they have reached out to me on several occasions proposing some kind of collaboration. Now, those proposals have always been very professional, but up to this point, I have always declined because I want to make sure that my reviews remain honest and fully objective. But recently, I got a very different communication from Insta360 offering to simply send me a product with no strings attached and no expectations, so I figured I would take them at their word and give it a try. And I asked them to send me one of these. Also because it was simply unavailable anywhere to purchase and I wanted to get my hands on it and do a review. So just to be clear then, this was provided by Insta360 at no charge, and that's where I need your assistance. Please provide your opinions in the comment section if you think this is a good idea. Having watched the video, do you feel that I have lost any honesty or objectivity in my review? And going forward, do you think this arrangement is a good idea? So thank you in advance for your assistance, and let's get back to the video. So the remote arrives in this pretty compact box, and inside the box you will find, of course, the remote itself. Then we have three different mount types. You have a clip-on mount, we have a mount for a selfie stick, handlebars, and so on, which comes together with these three different size straps. We have a watch style mount, we have a furry wind protector, and of course the instruction manual. So let's take a closer look at the new GPS preview remote with built-in mic, and probably the best way to do this is to compare it to the original GPS preview remote. So just to keep things really simple, I'm going to refer to the original GPS preview remote as the old remote, and the new GPS preview remote with built-in mic as the new remote. So as you can see, the new remote is very similar looking to the old remote. It is almost identical in size and weight, according to my scales, weighing just 1 gram more than the old remote. But of course, when you consider that you have the addition of a microphone, that's probably a pretty reasonable sacrifice. If you take a look at the top of the two remotes, the differences become a little more obvious. You have the same two buttons as on the old remote, but now they have been moved to the corners of the remote in order to accommodate the microphone. If we turn around to the side, here you can see the speaker on both remotes. And on the new remote, you can see we have this nice textured finish, which makes it easier to hold on to. If we move over to the other side, a nice new addition on the new remote is also this status light, which shows you what the camera is doing. And if we flip to the bottom of the remotes, you'll see another important change with the new remote. We have the addition of a USB port for charging. Now, if you're familiar with the old remote, you'll know that it used a proprietary charging cradle. All very cool, but it means that you have to carry around this additional proprietary charger in order to keep your remote charged. With the new remote, I'm happy to report that they have now opted for USB charging, but this makes sense because the new remote also has onboard recording, and you really need to have a USB port in order to offload those files. Looking at the back of the two remotes, you'll notice that the new remote no longer has the charging terminals that the old remote had, but it does now have these cutouts for the attachment of various mounting accessories, including a spring clip, a selfie stick or handlebar mount, which can be rotated 360 degrees, and a watch style mount. One minor complaint regarding the spring clip mount: they made it entirely out of plastic, so if you like to use it in combination with a magnet or magnetic pendant such as this one, obviously it does not work. So I will be equipping mine with one of these adhesive metal plates. When it comes to feature differences, in addition to the microphone, of course, the new remote also promises a significant increase in the range capability. The old remote offered live preview up to 8 meters and remote control up to 20 meters, whereas the new remote offers both live preview and remote control at a distance of up to 100 meters, and obviously we will be testing that out later on. When used as a wireless microphone, the new remote also claims a range of up to 160 meters, and that's also something we'll be testing. When it comes to firmware updates, it is critical that both the camera and the remote are updated to the newest version. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit today because I literally just posted a full overview of the firmware update process in this video, in which I paired up the X5 together with the old preview remote. And trust me, the update process for the new preview remote is exactly the same. So check out this video if you want those details. I'll place a link to it at the end of this video and also in the video description. So in order to hook up the new remote, you need to ensure that your X5 is updated to at least version 1.4.2, and the newest firmware version for the new remote is 1.0035. So, having made sure that both devices are updated to the newest firmware version, now we can go ahead and connect them. All we need is to have both devices powered on and not connected to any other devices. On the X5, we're going to enter the settings and scroll over until we find the Bluetooth option. Under Bluetooth, you'll find two options, one for adding a remote, one for adding a headset or microphone. Obviously, we're going to choose the remote. And when we tap on there, it will begin the search. And as you can see, very quickly it finds the new GPS preview remote and mic. Tap on that to connect it. And as simple as that, we are connected. Now, one thing I have noticed about this new remote, normally when you add a Bluetooth device to an X5, you get some information displayed here showing you how to operate it. In the case of the new GPS remote and microphone, no such information is shown. If you saw my review for the original GPS preview remote, you will have seen that the information for that remote is actually incorrect. So I guess in the case of the new remote, Insta360 have decided better to show no information than incorrect information. Heading back out to the preview screen, you'll notice now there is a remote icon in the top right showing that the remote is connected. So operating the X5 with the new remote is pretty much the same as operating the X5 itself. You have a touchscreen as well as two buttons on the top, which have a similar function to the two buttons on the X5 itself. As far as touchscreen operation is concerned, I can tap on the mode button and I can select different modes in the same way as on the camera itself. If I tap on the parameters for that particular mode, you can change the resolution, the frame rate, and any other parameters associated with that mode. If I swipe in from the right, I have access to all the recording settings, including exposure, white balance, and so on. You can switch from the front-facing to the rear-facing lens, and you can even use the touchscreen exactly as on the camera to adjust your perspective. At the top of the screen, you'll also see information including the battery level. If you tap on that, you'll see you can select between the battery level for the camera or for the remote. And also at the top left, you can see how much recording time you have left on your memory card based on your current settings. Now, one thing that is different from the old remote, you'll notice there is also a switch here towards the top of the screen, which allows you to select between the preview mode or the audio recording mode. So the way the new remote works is that it's either a preview remote with full remote control of your X5, or it is a wireless microphone, but also with full remote control of your X5. You cannot have the wireless microphone and the preview at the same time. Now, in addition to the touchscreen, you also have the ability to control the X5 using the two buttons. The power or mode button allows you to switch between modes. Notice that the X5 only changes modes once you have finished the selection. And the record button, of course, allows you to start recording or stop recording.
Shooting complete.
Also, the remote supports the cancel recording feature, which is a very useful feature that I make use of frequently. During an active recording, if you decide you want to stop the recording and discard it, you can do so by holding down the record button on either the camera or the remote. When holding it down, a circle will appear. If you release the button before the circle completes, the recording will continue. But if you allow the circle to complete, the recording stops.
Recording cancelled.
And that file is discarded. You can also use the power button to power the camera on and off. When you are finished recording, simply hold down the power button on the remote, and that will bring up this display. This allows you to select between turning off the camera, turning off the remote, or turning off both devices. If I wish to turn off the camera, I just slide that over and the camera powers off. In order to power the camera back on, select the camera icon in the bottom left. It will show the currently connected device, and I can select Connect Now. This will wake up the X5, and after a few seconds, the connection will be complete. If it's not convenient to use the touchscreen, you can also simply hold down the power key in order to power off the X5. And if you hold the power key down again, it will turn off the remote. And anytime we power the remote back on again, it can be automatically set to wake up the X5. Now, the new remote also supports the quick capture mode. All I need to do is simply press the record button. As we saw previously, it will power on the X5, but now, as you can see, it immediately starts recording. Now, I have noticed that during quick capture, it generally takes a lot longer for the remote to finalize the connection. And because we are recording using quick capture, if we stop the recording,
shooting complete.
Unless we intervene, the camera will also shut down within 5 seconds. When it comes to adding multiple devices to your X5, it is possible to use the new remote in combination with, for example, a Bluetooth microphone, but it is important that you have the remote connected first before you attempt to connect the microphone. Otherwise, the remote will not connect. As you can see, I have the remote already connected. I'm going to power on my Bluetooth microphone. You'll notice that it connects immediately. You can see that I have both the remote icon and the AirPods icon at the top of the screen, but you may also have noticed that the preview is now missing. So whenever a Bluetooth microphone is connected, the GPS remote with microphone no longer supports live preview. If I power off the microphone, it disconnects, and now you can see my preview has returned. And also on the subject of multiple connections, yes, it is possible to operate multiple cameras from a single GPS preview remote with microphone. According to Insta360, up to 4 cameras can be connected at one time. You'll notice here I have my X5 and my Ace Pro 2 both connected. When using multiple cameras, you no longer get a live preview from any of them, you just simply see the number of connected cameras on the display. Okay, time to do some range testing. Now we're going to split up the range test into 3 parts: a remote control range test, a live preview range test, and a wireless microphone range test. Now for this first part, we're going to be focused on the remote control aspect. According to Insta360, the new remote provides live preview and full remote control at a distance of up to 100 meters. So I'm going to take a walk with the remote control. You guys are going to stay here and keep an eye on the camera, and I have the voice prompts enabled on the X5, so whenever I start the recording,
Start recording.
you will hear that very clearly, and similarly when I stop the recording.
Shooting complete.
So let's take a walk. So we're going to start out at around about 20 meters away from the camera. Should be no issue. Let's give it a try.
Start recording.
I can hear the voice prompt on the camera. I can see the confirmation on my screen. So let's take it a little bit further.
Shooting complete.
Okay, let's try 40 meters now. I'm 40 meters away from the camera. Let's give it a try.
Start recording.
I believe I heard it on the camera. I can see the confirmation on my screen. It was a little bit delayed, however. Let's go ahead and stop the recording.
Shooting complete.
I can hear it on the camera. And after a short delay, I can see it on the screen as well. Let's go a little further. Okay, now I'm around about 60 meters away from the camera. I still have the live preview on my screen. Let's try to start recording.
Start recording.
Now, I did not hear anything, but I do see the confirmation on my screen now that it is recording. So I'm going to stop the recording again.
Shooting complete.
This time I did just hear it, and I can see the confirmation on the screen with a short delay. So here I'm about 70 meters away from the camera. This is about as far away as I can get while still maintaining line of sight to the camera. I can still see the live preview on my screen. Let's see what happens if I start the recording now.
Start recording.
I am not seeing anything happening on my... Oh, now I'm seeing it. Okay, with a delay of about 3 to 4 seconds, it did show that the recording has started. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Shooting complete.
I think I just could hear it, but again, it took a few seconds, but it did finally confirm on the screen here. Okay, so now I'm going to take a walk behind the trees, get a little bit further away, but also have a lot of trees between myself and the camera, and see how it handles that. Okay, I don't know if you can even still hear me. I'm now behind the trees, probably around about 80 meters away from the camera. My live preview screen has gone completely, so I do not have the ability to control the camera. I'll try the record button just in case. No, it's attempting now to connect to the camera. So it appears at 80 meters behind the trees, I have now lost the connection. Okay, now for the next part of our range test, we're going to be focusing on the preview screen. Now again, as a reminder, Insta360 says I should be able to get about 100 meters away from the camera and still get a live preview. I guess we'll find out how far we can go. And what we want to see is if we get a preview, and also it'll be interesting to see what the latency looks like in that preview. So I have my DJI Pocket 3 trained on the remote here. You guys are going to stay with the remote. I'll put a close-up of the remote on the screen down here, and I'll also share what I'm filming on the X5 up here so you can compare the two. So let's take a walk. Okay, so what you need to look for then is not only that you still have a live preview on the GPS remote, but also it will be interesting to see if you start to notice any latency as I get further away from the camera. So right now I'm around about 30 meters, just going through 30 meters away from the camera right now. I have no idea what you guys are seeing, so I'll just keep on walking. And I'm coming up to around about 40 meters away right now. The audio you hear is actually coming from my DJI Mic 2, which is attached to the camera filming the whole thing. So we're not really interested in the audio so much as looking at the live preview screen. So I'm coming up to around about 65, almost 70 meters away from the camera right now. I still have line of sight to the camera, so hopefully you can still see me okay on the preview. Hopefully there's not too much latency. Let's now see what happens if I take a walk amongst the trees. And let's see if you're able to maintain the preview screen as I do that. So I'm probably around about 80 meters away from the camera, and we have quite a few trees between us. I'm wondering if you are still able to see me on the preview screen, or if the connection has been lost by now. So I'll turn around and start walking back, coming back to around about 70 meters now and emerging from behind the trees. So I now have line of sight once again. I'm wondering if the connection has been maintained or if it was lost and has now been re-established. I guess I'll find out when I edit the video. Now, I know we didn't quite confirm Insta360's range specifications, but I'm sure Insta360 will be quick to point out that those specifications are based on maintaining line of sight between the remote and the camera. And to be honest, I'm pretty impressed with the results we were able to achieve. I'm certainly not planning to operate my camera at a distance of 160 meters anyway. I think if you did that, there would be a good chance that your camera won't be there by the time you get back to it. But nevertheless, there are some negatives that we need to talk about when it comes to the GPS preview remote and microphone. Now, as far as today's video is concerned, I want to focus only on the issues that pertain to its function as a preview remote. There are some issues when it comes to the wireless mic functionality, but I'll save those for my follow-up video. Now, the first issue we want to talk about, I'll just refer to as connectivity. And this has been an issue with every single Insta360 camera and Bluetooth device I have ever tested. And unfortunately, I have to say with this new remote, it's probably worse than it's ever been. When you wake up the camera, best case scenario, which probably happens about 50% of the time, is that the remote will connect completely to the camera in about 10 to 12 seconds, which frankly is already too long. In another 25% or so of cases, that connection takes between 40 and 60 seconds, which is utterly ridiculous. I really don't understand what is happening during that time. And for the remaining 25% of the time, the connection just never happens. Both devices time out, you get an error message, and your only remaining course of action is to go to the X5, open the settings menu, and re-establish the connection. Which, let's face it, if the camera really is 100 meters away from you, that's pretty inconvenient. I just don't understand what is going on at Insta360 when it comes to Bluetooth devices. No other manufacturer has these kind of issues. The next issue I want to mention is limited live preview support. Now, as we saw earlier, when using the new remote, you have to choose between the wireless preview mode and the wireless microphone mode. You cannot have both at the same time. And as we also saw, if you decide to use the wireless preview mode and try to combine it with a Bluetooth microphone, you also lose that live preview. But there is another situation when you don't get a live preview, and that's something we also saw on the old GPS preview remote, and that is whenever you are using Instaframe mode. Whenever you select Instaframe mode, here too the live preview disappears, and to be honest, Instaframe is probably one of the key modes where you would want to have that live preview. Also noteworthy here, when using Instaframe mode, unlike the old remote, the new remote does not support the camera movements such as the 360 spin or barrel roll, so that's another major omission. The next issue is incomplete screen reader support, and this is exactly the same issue we saw on the old preview remote. Now, the screen reader feature is a really useful feature that gives you audible cues, for example, when you change modes on the camera, when you start and stop recording, and this is particularly useful in combination with a remote control. Now, you saw earlier on during the testing how the screen reader would call out when we started and stopped the recording.
Start recording.
But that is as far as it goes. Even though the screen reader feature supports many more commands,
Instaframe. Pure video. Video.
for some reason these are not supported when using the GPS preview remote. The next issue is inconsistencies in the user interface. Now, once again, this was an issue with the old GPS preview remote, so it's unfortunate that this has not been corrected on the old one, and the same issue is present on the new one. Here's a reminder of the issue from my review of the original GPS preview remote. When you are selecting a mode on the camera versus on the GPS preview remote, the order of the modes is different. And with there being so many modes, typically you get used to swiping to a certain mode, and now you have to learn to do it a different way using the preview remote. And unfortunately, the new GPS remote does exactly the same thing. If we just ignore the built-in microphone for a moment and just compare it to the old remote, functionality-wise, it's pretty much identical, but of course there are some major upgrades. The most critical of which being the vastly extended range for the live preview and the remote control, which will open up all kinds of new possibilities. I do like the new mounting options, which give you all kinds of mounting flexibility, and I'm sure we'll also see some aftermarket accessories which will extend that flexibility even further. And for me, the other major change is the addition of the USB port for charging, so now I no longer have to carry around a proprietary charging cradle. Now, the list price of the new remote is about $10 more than the old one, but I think these updates alone fully justify that price increase. And then, of course, when you consider that it has a built-in microphone, it really does represent much better value. And that brings us to the built-in microphone. In all honesty, I find this product to be a little bit strange. I can understand why Insta360 would look to combine two Bluetooth accessories, a remote and a microphone, but when you look at the final result and the fact that you cannot use the live preview at the same time as the microphone, that makes this a little bit strange. Now, as I said earlier, I plan on doing a full review of the new remote, focusing on its wireless microphone capabilities, so be on the lookout for that video in the near future. So that wraps it up for another video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for a lot more similar content. If you have any questions, any comments, if you want to share your experience or make suggestions for future videos, please drop those into the comments section. Otherwise, thanks again for watching.